Alright, guys, so my part two, I did put my hair up because it's hot. But again, with the 501s here, and not like I was continuing with my part one story, what I'm dealing with, like different personalities, we had made a plan with different peoples of how we were going to do certain things. I asked if they approved of the plan, a lot of people, and they agreed. Not saying a lot of people, but it turns out that someone would just went completely left and is doing whatever they want. And it kind of, when I plan things out, it's kind of just for everybody to be a part of it and not only one person doing work. But this is what I mean of sometimes changing the perspective of things, right? So if you look at this 501s here, you see there's this one person here that's not really holding the stick up. And I feel like we're this person here, because I say we because if you're here today, this message is probably for you too. So you see this one here holding it, that's like, hey guys, let's just build something. We don't need to fight and hit each other on the head, and then everybody's like, no, F you, beep. I'm in charge, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do whatever I want. And it's funny because the person too that I'm actually talking about, I think that person's a Leo, and I'm a Sag, Sun, Capricorn rising. So definitely, I'm observing, looking. My Sagittarius really wants to be like, yo, what's up with the plan, or what are you doing? You spotlight, and let me not speak bad the Leos, because they are like our sister fire sign. But I say, like, this person here, right here, this person's like, hey, let's build something. We don't really need to use this to fight against each other. Like, if we collaborate, if we actually like just put all these opinions and all these acts of passion and impulsiveness, and that we want to get something done, if we actually put it in a team kind of idea, or a team plan, or a community, we could actually build something, and we could actually be able to get somewhere. Now, it doesn't always work for everybody else, right? Because you might be thinking like that, but not everybody has the same mindset. So that's what I mean, like, with changing the perspective of things. Sometimes you got to sit back. As much as I want to be impulsive and kind of like tell this person off, I sit back. That's why it's kind of good having like a nerve sign, I guess, for me, because I tend to kind of sit back a lot before I regret saying something that I didn't mean while I was feeling a certain way. But if you observe, if you kind of ask these questions to yourself and see that truth, what is it really? Is it the lack that you cannot contribute? Is it the lack of that this person might be seen as someone that leads, even though a lot of times this person, is not always very dependable? Now is somebody that has, just how this person, right? Or what you're getting from this person. But when you ask these questions and kind of take a look at the perspective of things, you find out, how you are, and then the type of personalities or people that you're dealing with around you. Now, in some situations, it's always good to voice your opinion, set your boundaries, but in some situations, not really worth your time. How much energy are you willing to waste, or how much energy are you willing to sacrifice in order to correct or try to change someone, that might just be, set in their ways, what they're believing, or in their journey or path. This is probably like the best thing to do. That's their best initiative. Well, and the other side, which is you, or how you might feel about things, that's your truth. That's what you're seeing. That's how you feeling. Changing perspectives and being able to kind of chillax and see things from different like views and points of views kind of diffuses or avoids having this situation. If you don't learn the lesson, you're going to keep coming across the same things or the same lesson until you actually learn how to take a different approach, different path, or different solution to something that you keep on like repetitive, like repeatedly having in your life, you know. So for those of us that are going through these changes, or those of us that feel like right now we're like, if I could tell this person, exactly what's on my mind, I bet you. But as people that I want to say spiritual journeys, people that are working in light, or people that are just, maybe not 100% trying to change, like always, like the world and how we, want the world to act with us. I think a lot of the changes, or a lot of things that we do tend to do, is work on ourselves. And being able to put these lessons within ourselves, that way we're able to kind of teach others, and we're also able to kind of have that wisdom to be able to tell others of when they come across these situations, and how to deal with it, or how to fix it, or ignore it, or is it really worth conflict? Is it really worth you kind of being mad about it, or taking it with you, going to sleep with it, and just being upset or mad, or just kind of manifesting something that you don't want in your life? I think when we have that perspective, when we do that self work, when we do those questions for ourselves, I think it kind of, we learn, we gain that wisdom, and we're able to kind of each day kind of give that out. And don't ever think that, when you're trying to learn these solutions, or trying to learn like these different ways of dealing with things or people, that, the universe doesn't kind of reward that. Obviously, spirit is energy. Energy is, it never disappears, it comes back. And we could alchemize that type of energy into something positive to come back, whether it be that something tomorrow better might happen, either this person changes, or this person sees themselves without us necessarily being involved, or kind of telling this person. Maybe they kind of just get the idea, or the vision, or like, maybe I'm doing too much. Yes, you are, darling, you do too much. But karma is real. Energy is real. All this gets rewarded when you don't lash out, when you don't kind of act an ego. You act for the greater good. So that's my message. It was like a long message, but if you're still here, I thank you. Make sure you hit like, follow for more. And thank you so much for listening to me and hearing me out. Bye.